show me your friends, and I'll show you your future. Hey guys, it's Sam here again in beautiful sunny Sydney today. As you can tell with the glare coming through the window, it is very bright today in Sydney. Here for the National Achievers Congress with my man Uncle G and Gary Vaynerchuk, and I must say I'm super excited. I can't wait to go. I've been wanting to see Grant for a long time now, and he's here in Sydney, or I should say Australia. He's going through Melbourne, Brisbane, Australia, and I think Perth as well. It's going to be an absolute blast, and I can't wait to go. So while I'm here, I thought I'd do another video, and today's topic is show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And basically what that means is you're a product of your environment. And for myself personally, this is a topic that touches close to heart for me, as I've experienced this on multiple different levels with work colleagues, my close friends, and my family. And as such, you know, I've had to make adjustments as time's gone on. I've had to cut people out of my circle, cut people out of my life, and also change my environment. And it's quite scary how much of an impact your environment has on yourself, your frame of mind, your future, and basically how you go about your day. And a lot of people don't actually realize how much of an impact that this is actually happening for them. You know, with the movies you watch, the television you watch, the newspapers you read, the radio you listen to, as well as the people that surround you on a day-to-day basis, these are all affecting your mind and the way you think, the way you talk, even the way you look at situations and scenarios that pop up day to day. I'll give you an example, and you know, terrorism as a big one. As tragic as these things are when they occur around the world, one thing that they do and the media does very well is they create mass panic. And I mean mass panic on a massive level, to the point where everyone stops what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, and they freeze and they don't know what to do and what to think, and it affects them on a personal level, both physically and mentally. Obviously, of course, if you're directly affected by these things, that's a completely different situation. I'm referring to basically the media, and you know, they are masters of manipulation and terror. And not only that, but the newspapers are as well, and the radio. And America's a good example of this, whereby it constantly creates massive fear and anxiety in people, to the point where they clutch and latch onto these arms, the newspapers and the news, simply because they feel like that's their outlet on relieving their stress. But all that happens is these outlets continue to do that, so that they wrap you in and they can keep you in their grasp, and they can hold you, they can manipulate you, and they can make you feel, think, and act a certain way. And what you need to understand is that when these things occur, you need to cut these things out of your life. And I'm going to give you some tips in a moment to how you can basically handle these things, and how you can actually cut them out of your life completely, and the massive effect it's going to have on your life personally. So for myself, you know, I stay away from the news. I don't really read the paper besides the Financial Review, and I barely listen to the radio. As I mentioned in another video, you know, you should be making your car your own private university, a little hub of consistent and continuous learning, and using your time valuably. So valuably, I didn't say that right. So when you're coming home and you've had a long day's work, and you take your boots off, your suit, whatever it is that you're doing, and you come home and you want to relax, and you pop on the TV and you start watching, let's say, one of those lifestyle TV shows, like the old Big Brother house or Married at First Sight. And the problem with all these things is it creates a false reality in your head. And not only that, you're not utilizing your time properly. And really what you should be doing is going, okay, when I wake up and when I go to work, or when I wake up, what am I doing with my time? Where am I going? Who are the people that I'm surrounding myself with? And if you're spending 5, 6, 7 days out of the week in a sports bar with your friends, belching and farting, then guess what? That's what your future is going to be like. So what I'm trying to say is that be more conscious of how you spend your time and who you spend your time with, and the things that you're feeding and fueling your mind, because they have such a massive impact on yourself and how you look and how you view things. If you're constantly listening to the radio as your source of information, well, guys, you're only limiting yourself, and it's not something you should be doing. And you should be changing your information outlets. So, as I keep saying, rather than going back to these direct outlets that you're doing, maybe look at getting it somewhere from an alternative method. Maybe listen to a podcast about commerce instead of reading the paper about commerce. If you want to look into the property, maybe go start following a property expert, listening to them, who gives an unbiased opinion, rather than going on the news and saying that the market's in a downturn or there's an oversupply of units. Like I said, there's multiple different ways you can go about things, but ultimately the biggest one with show me your friends and show me your future is, who are you spending the most time with? And the people that you spend the most time with, does their views and goals and ideologies align with yours? Or are you keeping your own frame in with them? And what I mean by your frame is, every time you come home, you're putting yourself in someone else's frame. Let's say it's your partner and they're really stressed out at the moment, and they come home from work and they start talking to you about, how much of a bad day they've had, but it's not just a one time, it's consecutively. Or your roommate's doing the same thing, they're always complaining about the partner they're with, or the job they don't like. And that's another video which I could go and talk on for hours, is, people don't stop to evaluate what they're actually doing. And like I said, all these different information outlets that they're putting themselves into, and the people they surround themselves with. So what I suggest you do is a couple of things. Is, you need to change your attitude towards where you hang out, where you spend most of your time, and the people you surround yourself with. If you've got a work colleague that every time you come into work and you've got a positive, upbeat attitude, and then you come into work and they're just being negative Nancy, just non-stop, just bang, 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 just hitting you with negative statement after negative statement after negative statement, and then you try to say, hey, come on, it's not that bad, let's look at the positives here, let's focus on this and not that, that's in the past, focus on the future. And then they turn around and hit you with a negative comment. Well, guys, you need to sit there and think, well, do I really need to be spending this much time with this person? Because they're just constantly dragging me down in the dirt. And every time I try to be positive and maintain a healthy outlook on business, relationships, health and wealth, they're just tearing it down to pieces, because they're not happy within themselves. And internally, they have their own little mental warfare that's going on, and you shouldn't be the one to fix it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be there to help people, because you should. And it's something that, I endeavor to do for the rest of my life. But you need to be conscious of who you're constantly surrounding yourself with. And that goes for friends and family, guys, as well. I not too long ago had to make a harsh call and cut a few of my close friends out of my life. And the reason I did that was because they're constantly dragging me down. And it's not because I don't like them, they're not like brothers to me. It's simply because of where I want to be, where I want to go for my future and for my career. And the people I want to surround myself with, unfortunately, they just don't align with the path that I'm on and where I want to go. So what I'm trying to say is that if you can recognize this, make a list of the people that you spend the most time with, and evaluate, where do you want to be in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years? Are these people in the way that they're doing their day-to-day behaviors and their attitude towards life, are they helping you get there, or are they bringing you down? Because if they're bringing you down, guys, I'm sorry to say this, but you might have to think about culling them out of your life. Not for indefinitely, but maybe for a period of time. And if they come back to you and they say, oh, why haven't you spoken to me? Well, hey guys, I'm on this program, and this is what I'm on, and you're not helping me get there because you're constantly bringing me down, and I have to be a therapist. And it's not that I don't want to be a friend, it's the fact that it's a daily occurrence. So the other important thing is attitude. Now, as I've briefly mentioned, attitude in the easiest way to explain it is, how do you look at things? Are you a glass half full or a glass half empty? Now, obviously, you should be a glass half full, not glass half empty. And you should look at things and be grateful for what they are, rather than how bad it is and what you don't have. So I've written a few tips here for you to help you recognize this and to basically get you on your way. And the first one is, as a pretty much a given, avoid television, newspapers, and the radio for 30 days. And if you can't do that, guys, just start with one day. Just start with one day, and you will notice the positive impact that it has on you. And that includes social media too, guys. there's a lot of negative social media online where people spend too much time looking at their phones constantly when they're not living in the moment and talking to the people that they're with and enjoying what they're actually doing. And that, again, that's a separate topic, but that's tip number one. Tip number two is stay away from can't-do people, and they're complaining about something. And as I've mentioned previously, this isn't just friends of friends and work colleagues. This is your family too. And as hard as this can be, you have to do it for your own benefit as for your personal life and for your health and well-being and your mental and your mindset. Because if you don't, guys, you're keeping yourself and you're holding yourself back consistently. Tip number three is get everyone that is on the same, or that is going in your direction, or that maybe isn't in your direction but you want them to be in your life. You need to sit them down and get them on the same page. And I did this recently, about a couple of weeks ago, with a couple of people that are very close to me, and I had to sit down and say, hey guys, this is where I'm going in life, this is what I want to do, and this is the page I'm going to be on. So I can't be around constant negativity. I need people that are ambitious and that want to go out and do things, and that are positive people, and that aren't kind of trying to consistently bring me down with their problems. And that's not to say that you can't be there for people when they have arise and they do have problems, because you should be, because that's what a good human being does, and for someone that cares. But when it's on a consistent basis, you need to recognize it for what it is. Number four is avoid alcohol and drugs and fast food, guys. As I'm sure we all know this, but we're all guilty of it at some stages of our life. The problem with all of that stuff is that when you engage in that activity, it's been scientifically proven that on a cognitive level for your body and your mind, it takes days to get back to normal levels. And I'm not just talking about from a physical perspective, but for your mental state as well. It takes a very, very long time. I'm talking a minimum of maybe 2, 3, 4 days, depending on what you've done, and how much alcohol you've consumed or how much bad food you've been eating on a consistent basis. Guys, it ruins your mental health, it ruins your physicality, and it ruins your outlook and your attitude on things as well. So that's a big one. Number five is treat negativity talk like garbage. So again, I've already hashed on this, but basically, guys, when it comes to negativity, you need to shy away from it, run from it like the plague, and keep it out of your life. Like I said, if you've got someone or something that is constantly spitting negativity towards you, you need to pull it up and basically stop it in whichever way you can possible. So if it's people, you either need to have a chat to them, or you need to cut them out of your life. If it's external factors like your environment, like where you're hanging out with people, like pubs, clubs, or whatever the case may be, change that too, and you need to make that change quick. And the third one is with your outlook, so your social media, the newspaper, the radio, and all those kind of things. You need to change that, guys, as well, because at the end of the day, if you're around negative thoughts, negative people, you will become that. And that is why, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And tip number 6, which is commit to everything I've just said for just 24 hours. If you can do it for 24 hours, well then you can maintain it for a longer period, from 24 hours to say 6-7 days. Just continually keep trying to push the bar and improve yourself. And that it mentions all the tips I've just mentioned. So guys, I hope this has helped. Like I said, it's a very important thing to sit down and actually evaluate in your life. And a lot of people don't do it enough and don't do it often. I do this all the time. And it's something that it's very easy to change. You can change it and you can implement this instantly at no cost. All it takes is for you to sit down and to just think about what you're doing with your life, the people you're hanging out with, and where you're hanging out with yourself in terms of the area and the location and environment. So hope that's helped, guys. I will be sharing a lot of videos and photos over the next couple of days of the event that I'm going to with GC. I can't wait. I'll talk to you soon.